Welcome back for another episode of Bike of the Day here at Iconic Motorbikes, although we're doing things a little bit differently because we've actually got two bikes. They are similar in very, very obvious ways. They're both BMWs, 1000cc boxer motors, but as you'll see in a moment, they also differ in some really, I think, interesting ways. So this is definitely gonna be a video for the BMW nerds out there. We're gonna start with this one. This is my personal 1984 BMW R100 CS last edition. And to me, I get a laugh out of it because of that specific phrase, last edition, right there. The short version of the story is, it's the early 80s. BMW thinks that the future of their bikes has to be with the new flying brick platform that they've developed because it makes more horsepower, liquid cooled, can compete better with what's coming out of Japan at the time. So they announce in this letter, hey, we're making 740 examples of the last edition bikes with the 1000cc motors. Interestingly enough, they're going to keep doing this, the 650s and the 800s, well, that's or the 850s, but that's a story for a different day. Anyway, the last edition bikes, they made a few for the R100s, a few of the R100 RSs, that kind of thing. The CS that I have here, also known as the S in California, they made 175 of these. And so the last edition bikes were special with the paint job. You also got two seats, a solo seat and a dual seat. But really it was kind of just, hey, here's the last inventory, the last stock, and we're gonna sell that off. So they also made a big thing about, hey, because it's the last few bikes, they're gonna be worth more when you resell them, they're collectors, et cetera, et cetera. Well, BMW fans and customers all around the country said, that's not why we buy Boxers. We don't care about the high horsepower stuff, the inline motors. We like that they're torquey, we like that they're reliable, we like that they're simple to work on. And so there was a little bit of a customer revolt. So BMW decides later, okay, you know what, we're gonna bring back the R100. And so of course, anyone that spent extra money on one of these was frustrated. BMW decided to compensate them with a free helmet. Although I wouldn't really think that's enough of a compensation, but that's what they ended up doing. So this bike, 91,858 miles on it. I've had it for a few years. I really adore it, always runs. Little things give you trouble when something's this old. But I think the cool thing about it, again, is just the history of what last edition meant. For the second bike, I'm going to introduce our buddy Eric Zimmerman, who's going to tell you a little bit about a variant of what last might mean in the world of BMWs.
This really is the last, if you don't count the 50 bikes in South Africa they did up until '97. But this was the R100 Mystic, which it doesn't look anything like. And it came with basically a GS frame and the paralever, and it was 1995. It was the end of the line for the Airheads, and I bought it new. It had a GS tank and kind of an ugly tail section. I took it home and wanted to make it look like Abhi's bike, so I modified the frame to take the old style tank. I built a new subframe to take the old style seat, put the old style engine covers on, and basically have a 70s looking bike with the K-bike front end and brakes and the paralever in the rear, so it handles a little better, stops better. And then a bunch of stuff was done to the motor, but that's beside the point.
This is really incredible. So it's cool to see in that final year of BMW production, they made the Mystic.
This was the Mystic.
Yeah, and so the Mystic originally was kind of like a reddish, purplish color, and like you said, he's done a lot of work to this to make it look more like a 70s or more original example. The Mystics had different side covers that were much shorter.
It had a
tail section. Yeah,
plastic tail section, big gauges. It had a big GS style speedometer and a unique to that model tachometer the same size. I converted to old style gauges because they fit behind the S fairing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to kind of know a lot about the bike, because otherwise it just looks like a 70s BMW. There's a lot of work that Eric did to backdate it in a sense, but of course keep some of the more modern features. And of course, one of the things I can't help but notice as I'm looking on this side is his Remus exhaust. So I do want you guys to hear that. Before though, I'm gonna fire this up so you can hear kind of what a relatively stock one sounds like. This bike does have dual plug heads. I bought it that way. It also has higher compression pistons, CC products, triple clamp, and a couple other smaller things. But all right, here we go. But yeah, you know, it just starts, like I said, 91,800 miles on it. Starts up every time. I got the factory bags on it so I can go around. I've done 2 up trips with the girlfriend on it. All right, here we go. Here's a few revs. And of course, has to be an iconic bike if the horn works. So people know I'm coming.
That's a horn.
There, that's a real German horn right there. All right, that's my baby. And now, Eric, if you would do the honors.
This also high compression, heads done by Kenny Augustine, a really lumpy cam, which I've forgotten the number of, and the 40mm Bings, and the Remus exhaust. So a little roarier than stock.
Yeah, I gotta say, you definitely win the exhaust of the competition there, the sound off on that.
It was making close to 80 horsepower with flat slides on it.
Oh, wow.
And but then I was commuting in flat slides, and it was a nightmare.
Sure.
So,
well, for those of you that don't know, Eric Zimmerman here, very successful DP in Hollywood, but also kindly helps us out with photos here at Iconic Motorbikes. So the photography that you see over on the auction site for bikes that are for sale, more than likely he's the one that shot it. And so I thought it would be cool just to, because these are both just some of our personal bikes. And so it's always nice to see what people are riding here at Iconic. And we thought it'd be nice to show you a little back and forth, 2 different takes on what last meant to BMW. So again, the 1984, what they thought was going to be the last edition. And then of course they kind of backtracked on that. And then the 1995, that really was the final edition of sorts. So thanks for watching, we appreciate it, and we'll look forward to showing you some more cool iconic bikes in the near future. Thanks, Eric.